Hello guys and welcome to another couch episode, another week, another couch episode, and today we are going to see what aliens and the Nazis have in common.
And we will have Samba.
Welcome back guys to another couch episode. We hope that you had a great weekend. Today here we are for another dose of old and mold as we usually say, and we're going to start right off in 1993 with a game called Blackstone Aliens of Gold. This was for MS-DOS and it was developed by Gem Productions and published by Apogee Software. Now,
I remember that one.
For those who are seeing this gameplay at home, will say that this is very familiar to Wolfenstein 3D, and you are right. Same engine was used to bring you yet another release from Apogee on the FPS genre, but this time not from the hands of John Romero or John Carmack. So, set in the year 2140 or 2140, Blackstone, a British intelligence agent, asked to investigate and eliminate a threat by the name of Dr. Pyrrhus Goldfire that wants to take over the Earth with his army of genetically modified human-alien hybrids. Despite its Wolf 3D clone title, Blackstone has some interesting improvements to the original 1992 classic that made it simpler but at the same time more challenging. The game consists of 6 episodes with 11 levels, where 2 of those are secret and they can be backtracked to either get missing items or boost the player's final score. This was something new here because you could actually go back to the previous levels or the previous floors in this case, because there's an elevator that you have to go through, and you could actually access to all of them to improve your final score or to get some items that you probably have missed. So this was a very interesting feature that, it wasn't available in Wolf 3D as we see before. Each episode features 2 secret levels that, despite again not contributing to the overall story of the game, they can be used to boost up the score in the end. Additionally, and considering the astonishing amount of people that complained on how easy it was to get lost in Wolf 3D, and that was a maze. I mean, the walls were all the same, the levels were so repetitive that people would get lost. A minimap feature was introduced that would help against the countless hours of wall strafing just to see if you missed a corridor when you were stuck in a level. And this was a very, very common feeling in Wolf 3D. I played the whole game to, start to end, and believe me, it wasn't easy, and I got lost, and sometimes I even got stuck for ages, and I couldn't even, get back to it because I didn't really know what was happening or where I was. But again,
it was even harder when you tried to open secret passages and you were just hugging walls, and at some point you didn't know where you were.
Exactly. It was tough on this game. But, despite the improvements, Blackstone came out just 1 week before Doom was released, and that, completely eclipsed this title, and obviously we didn't see a lot of sales from this game. Also, it was not that popular. I knew this game, Blackstone Aliens of Gold, because there was actually the first one that I played was Blackstone Planet Strike, which is the second game of the series. And this was both the first one and the second one are available on GOG. And for some weird reason, I saw this game on one of the pages as a recommended game somehow. And I looked at it, and I always had a great, I wouldn't say love, but I was very curious about clones of certain games. I mean, I've played a lot of clones of Doom, especially because there was so much work put by the Doom community to make, new levels and stuff like that. But this one for Wolf 3D, I wasn't really used to see a lot of them, so I ended up grabbing this one. And, despite that it's a clone and it was eclipsed by the release of Doom, as I just said, the funny thing is that if you look at this game, it's quite well developed. I mean, the animations are much smoother. There's not so much of pixelation that we would see in the original Wolf 3D that was, played at a quite low resolution. So the game definitely saw some improvements. You can see that there's a lot of polish there, especially on the animations. The animations seem a lot more interesting and a lot more well done than the Wolfenstein 3D ones. But again, back in 1993, it was a game that was already getting kind of, thrown down by the fact that the graphics were dated. If we look at Doom compared to Wolf 3D, I mean, obviously there's a clear improvement and an advancement at the technology at that time, and that's why this game ended up not being so popular. Again, in 1994, the sequel came, which was called Blake Stone Planet Strike, as I just mentioned. Both of these games are available in GOG for €40 if you want to pick them up right now. It's if you like the Wolfenstein 3D clones that exist around with a little bit of different story, this one actually is a good one, and I think it's worth a shot. So you guys try it out if you want, and let us know if you played it or not in the comments right there below to see if you actually had any experiences with the game or not. So this said, what's the next game that we have for today, Blade?
Oh, this is a good one. I'm going to follow the example from last week, and I'm going to a music and rhythm game.
Oh God!
On my favorite console of all time, and it's no secret.
I mean, was the dog that rapped like Tupac?
Yeah, last week we had the rapping dog. This week we have something a lot better. This game was awesome on this awesome console that was so unfairly treated. It came out in '99 for the Sega Dreamcast, and the game is called Samba, the Amigo. This was such a cool game. Yeah, it's a Samba game. It came with these accessories you had to use for the game that were these 2 maracas. And it was so cool. Yeah, you had these maracas, you had to shake them. And you had to dance to the rhythm.
What the hell is this? I mean this show
you just have to play it.
No. This show had to go to literally bottom of the well level to talk about a game like this. Yeah. What the hell is this?
This is so cool. I mean,
I don't know this game. For the first time, I'm going to tell you. Probably not the first time, but I've never heard about this game.
You have to play this, and I'll tell you this again. You have to play this. But you need the original maracas to play this. It's really cool. No, I don't. You do.
No.
The game had this very simple mechanic. You had this 2 circles on top on your sides that were red, on the center the yellow ones, and on the bottom the green ones because they were the easiest. And then you'd have these blue balls spawning in the center and moving towards them, and when they were near the middle of these rings, you just had to shake the maracas in those positions. And it was so cool, and at some points it would just tell you to strike a pose, and you would just have to strike a pose shaking the maracas. It was really cool.
This looks like Guitar Hero meets Sailor Moon. Something like that.
Guitar Hero meets Sailor Moon is good, yeah. But it was really good. And you played this monkey called Amigo, and when you were doing really good, the crowd would just start building up and creating this environment behind you. You would just get really hyped playing this. And this had that mythical song everyone knows about. That's Samba de Janeiro. The one that goes like ta na 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 na.
No, you can't hum it. You can't hum it.
No, you have to hear it. You have to hear it.
You get the CMA strikes now just by humming a song that has copyright. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So do it. That was really bad.
I have to tell you that there's something really peculiar when a Japanese developer tries to grab something that is from Western culture. This is even Western, let's say.
This game was developed and published by Sega in Japan, and it's a game about samba from Brazil.
Exactly.
And it's awesome. It's really awesome.
This is South American culture. It's way off from... And I understand that the Japanese might have the knowledge of the culture. That's not really the thing. But
forget about that. Just play this game. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at the game and I'm still astonished by the fact that this was brought here.
There are 3 easy steps you need for this. get a Dreamcast, get the game with the maracas, and play it.
Okay.
That's simple.
Exactly. I'm sorry,
That's
but
simple.
you know, I have to tell you that I would rather invest my money on some more interesting stuff. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying that it's
so
my personal
good.
preference. I think that the monkey with the sombrero doesn't really look like like he's doing much there.
Yeah.
Like
No,
those
the
amigos,
sombrero
Samba
is
de
an
amigos.
overdoing. Yeah.
Like I'm
But it's
a
cool.
monkey designed by a Japanese.
Just play this.
Okay, fine. Just play this, guys. Play this. He says that you should.
You
play
know,
it
like
anyway.
Fry says in that scene, "Man, shut up and take my money." I'll just say, "Shut up and play this game."
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
do
guys,
it.
play the game. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you won't shut up about it. So let's
No, I
just
won't.
move on to the next game. Anyway, so, probably one of the best experiences we had with gaming, and let me tell you a little story about that, especially on the arcades.
Okay.
Was all those games that we could use some sort of accessory to, that other than just a stick or, a gamepad, whatever it was. And for example, if you look up at the potential of a game called Duck Hunt, you remember Duck Hunt, with
the
a light gun
game on the NES. It was so cool.
Exactly. So this was a market that had potential. I mean,
It did.
I think that if it was well explored, even today, we do have light guns that work with LCD screens and so on.
And you had this bazooka on the SNES back then. It was the Super Scope.
Yes, exactly. We're going to talk about it. Just wait a bit. But the question is that it had a lot of potential, and that serves as an intro about the game that I'm going to talk about. Not because it was the best game ever made for a light gun, but it was probably the best one made for a slightly lesser version of a light gun, but still a light gun nonetheless. So I'm going to talk about Bodycount from 1994 for the Mega Drive or Genesis, whatever you want to call it, and this was developed by Probe Software and published by Sega. Now, considered to be one of the best games released for the Sega Menacer, the direct competitor of the Nintendo Super Scope that you were just talking about, Bodycount was a rail shooter where we have to save Earth from an alien invasion. Plot aside, and because there's not much of it really about the plot of this game, the whole point is to shoot whatever is on the screen as fast as possible and without taking damage or dying. That's it. That's what these games are about. Yeah. If you remember about in the arcades, it was the same thing. 5 levels filled with intense action where we have to use our shooting skills to blow up pretty much everything we have in front of us. One of the interesting characteristics of this game is that virtually anything can be hit and has an animation to it. So just go play the game and try to hit something or shoot something and you will see that everything has an animation. It either blows up or a guy says ow or something like that. It's funny.
Was it made by Michael Bay? Because explosions everywhere.
No. Okay. No, but it does have a lot of explosions though, so Michael Bay could have possibly or potentially made this one.
Despite that it was in it.
And here's another thing. Despite that it was released in the EU and Brazil only, so this game was only released in these regions. It was supposed to be released in the North America region, but it was cancelled. It had some great features that were non-existent in other competing platforms. For example, Bodycount was playable without the light gun, and that was a fantastic sell point because many other titles of the genre were completely unplayable without the gun. And but also because, and not only that, another reason was not only was the fact that it was playable without the gun, it was also compatible with the Mega Mouse. Do you remember the Mega Mouse?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was actually for those who don't know, the Sega CD and the Mega Drive had a mouse that could be used. Although the titles for them were quite scarce, it was an interesting feature nonetheless that just comes to show, and as you were saying, just comes to show how Sega in so many ways was away of its time, or was ahead of its time. And this was another example, for example, like the Dreamcast, that was a console that was way ahead of its time for the features. And I think Sega was really getting the good mindset on using this kind of tools. Unfortunately, they didn't really implement quite well. But I can tell you that although I've never tried, I think that this game played with the Mega Mouse would have been so much fun and probably better than the Sega Menacer, because as we all know, the Sega Menacer was not to the level of the Nintendo Super Scope. The Nintendo Super Scope was way better.
Oh.
But much better designed. in all senses. I mean, the controls were not flaky, and it had a lot more titles that people could use for it. So again, I think that the idea overall of it was good. The fact that it could be played with the mouse or just the regular keypad gamepad that came with the Sega Mega Drive, I think that it was a good way to show that Sega had really good intentions, eventually just overwhelmed by the market that was ahead of them, that couldn't let them develop further. But a good one to try. If you guys didn't try it, I mean, even on emulation it works fine. Not so much with the controller, but RetroArch, for example, you can actually use the mouse as an input device. So
and it's playable that way, yeah.
And it's playable that way. It's very playable. In fact, I think it's even better played than with the gun originally. With the mouse, it gets much better. So, Blade, let's close off today's couch episode with some air freshener.
Yeah, and we can actually use this one. We didn't last week because the other one was so fresh. We couldn't even use it.
Exactly.
But this one's fresh enough that we can use it.
All right, let's go.
So this game came out in 2020. Okay.
And
it's called TemTem. You know this one?
TemTem?
TemTem. It's from a Spanish development studio called Grema, and this game was published by Humble Bundle.
Really? They have exclusives now?
Yeah. And this game, I don't think they have exclusives because they sell it for different platforms. This came out on the PlayStation 5, and it will come out on the Nintendo Switch and the Series X and S this year. And what can I tell you about this game? This is basically an MMORPG. And just think about this. This is an MMORPG completely identical to Pokemon.
Oh, right.
And
now I know why I don't know the game.
Okay.
I have to tell you, I sincerely hate with all my efforts Pokemon.
Okay, so instead of Pokemon, you have the TemTem here. And you have this novice tamer, that's what you are, that goes around these 6 floating islands, the airborne archipelago, and you just have to face other trainers, be it NPC players or other players, and just catch these TemTem and train them and level them up and fight them against each other, exactly like Pokemon. This is exactly the same thing. And you also have the equivalent to a Team Rocket here, that's called the Clan Belsotto. That's this evil organization that wants to control everything. Well, this is the basics behind this game, but actually, if you play it, and if you've played Pokemon, since you're not a fan, you won't know this, actually enjoy this far too much. You need to get used to the characters because you don't know them from other games. This is all brand new, and after you get used to the mechanics and how everything works and get to know all the TemTem in the game, it's actually a pretty good and pretty enjoyable game that you will spend countless hours playing, and it's really good. And I would advise, if you like Pokemon and you don't have a Nintendo Switch or even a previous generation mobile console from Nintendo to play a Pokemon game, just try this one on the PC or any other console except for the Series X and S and Switch because it hasn't come out yet, at least that I know of. And just play it because it's good. The game is good and it has a lot of interaction with other people. It actually has elements in it that should be added to Pokemon games that haven't yet. They went a few steps ahead and just got a lot of what was missing in Pokemon and got it in this game. So just give this one a go, try it out. It's worth it. It's well worth it. But if you don't like the mechanics on Pokemon games, just forget this one because it's the same thing, just in a basic MMO.
I don't like Pokemon, but I like Pokimane.
Okay.
You don't know who is Pokimane, right?
No.
Yeah. The guys in the comments will surely let you know who Pokimane is because she's quite famous.
Okay.
But she is quite You have no clue. Yeah. Well, go to Google and put Pokimane, and then let us know on the next couch episode what you found about it.
I'm starting to imagine what you're talking about. Probably.
Go take a look at it. It's gonna be worth your time. Anyways, what is gonna be worth your time, guys, is leaving a like if you like, leaving a dislike if you didn't like. Consider subscribing the channel. Let us, help us keep you bringing this content, and also to be on top of whatever we release. That is, you don't forget to activate the bell notification so that you can be notified of any latest releases that we have in our channel. Guys, as you already know, thank you so much for watching. We will be here next week. For those that still watch or also watch our Portuguese episodes, we'll be here on Friday. So as we always say, guys, see you next week and game on.
See you guys next week. Have fun and game on.